Hey, what's up everybody? Marlon here. Just wanted to give a quick rundown of my quad Cortex preset that I use for worship on Sundays. Wanted to make it available to you guys. Anybody that wants to use it, wants to tweak it, wants to completely overhaul it and make it better. Just wanted it to be a blessing for you guys. So I wanted to give a quick little rundown of exactly how I'm using the quad Cortex. I've had it for about 6 months or so now, and I finally feel like I've gotten to a good place where I feel like I'm getting the sound that I'm hearing in my head through the quad Cortex, and I'm loving it. It is absolutely an incredible machine. So wanted to just give you guys an opportunity to hear what I'm doing with it and sort of go from there. So anyways, let's dive in. Today I'm playing through my Jazzmaster sort of knockoff here. A guy out in Oregon, I believe, put it together, MJT body. I don't remember the brand of the neck, but bound and blocked roasted maple neck, mojo tone pickups. I did change out the 1 meg pots for 500K, which gives a slightly darker sound, but once you hear it, you'll realize that this is a very bright guitar. The way that I run my presets also is I run them bright and really do utilize the tone knob when I'm playing live. The way that I'm using the QC is I'm using it in scene mode. And so what I'll do when I'm building out patches for a Sunday morning is I'll have the intro, verse, chorus, bridge, all of the different sections of a song I'll build out with all of the different scene changes so that I can, with one press, jump from one to the next. So I don't typically play in stomp mode if there's a section of a song that I feel like in the moment needs more or less. I'll jump over. So I do have the toggle enabled between scene and stomp. But for the most part, I stay in scene mode, and we'll build out each song with those features. For the sake of this preset, however, I have decided to just build out your basic 4 levels of overdrive from clean to lead, and then also 4 auxiliary patches with a chime that has an octaver built in, a vibe with chorus and vibrato, and then 2 sort of delay reverb washy sounds. One is more clean and ambient, and the other is very, very thick and atmospheric. And so we'll go through those. But yeah, so starting off with with the clean preset, here's what that sounds like. So it'll really clean up. And then you can just dig in and hear that it's at the edge of the breakup of the amp. From there, stack in just a little bit of overdrive. A little bit more. And then from there, even more. This is lead, so it's got all 3 overdrives on. It's got the octaver on as well as the compressor, just for as full of a sound as we can possibly get out of a lead tone. So, as you can hear, those are your 4 different levels of from clean to as overdriven as this preset will go. From there, we go into the top row, which has chime. Which again is just that added octave. So if you need to just punch out of the mix a little bit more, I feel like that does a really good job of adding some top end clarity and pushing out in the mix a little bit. Then we go into what I have referred to as wet, which is just a little bit of delay and reverb. You can hear it sort of blooms out. Has sort of a longer decay on that. From there, I go into my vibe setting, which is chorus, super popular in worship these days, but this sort of and then from there, I go into my ambient preset, which I use for atmosphere, swells, transitions, covering up key changes, that sort of deal. It is full wet, delay, and reverb, and sounds like this. Roll off just a little bit of that top end. You can also do swells with it. So that sort of deal. So let me run you through exactly what effects I'm using on these patches. So starting off, we're going straight in from my input, which in this case, I'm running a wireless on my board. And then going straight into the Joule compressor. I find that I've tried all of them. I've tried the Octo Comp, I've tried the 87, and all of them sound awesome, but there's something about the Joule, which is based off of the Diamond compressor, that just sounds like a really good guitar compressor. And as much as I love the studio compressors that are built in, I find that the Joule really does what I want it to do. It's not always on these patches, but on this clean setting, it is on. And if you download the preset, you'll see the mix is super low. It's not doing a whole ton of compression in general, but it is giving me quite a bit more sustain. So a high compression setting and a low mix, and it's just allowing the guitar to sort of sustain out more than without it. From there, I'm going into the pitch function, which allows me to, on the fly, if I need to, drop it down, get a baritone sound, or change the key that I'm playing in if there's a last minute change and I don't feel like transposing. And then from there, I'm going into the Plini Octaver. So if you don't have that purchased, I'm going to make one of a preset available as well that does not have any of the plug-in versions on there. It'll just be the stock effects blocks. But what I find with the Plini Octaver is it sort of does what the POG 2 does with the filter, and it shaves off some of that brittle top end, and it just sounds nicer, in my opinion. From there, I'm going into my first stage overdrive, which is the daily driver. This is one that I got off of the Cortex cloud. Just downloaded it, and it sounds really, really good. So this is on that same preset, that daily driver. Versus from there, I have the Noble ODS tube screamer that's built into the QC. I had a what is that thing called? I had a Cornerstone Antique, which I absolutely adored on my pedal board before I switched. And when I got the QC, I captured it and loved it. But I do find that there's a little bit more fidelity with this tube screamer that the QC has inside of it. So it just sounds like a tube screamer. From there, I'm going into the JHS Kilt, and that is my third stage overdrive, which in the preset I have stacked with the daily driver. But here is the Kilt by itself. And then stacked with the daily driver. So yeah, you get the idea. What I found in my 6 months long search for my quad Cortex tone is that these three drives sort of fill out the palette like I want it to. You'll notice that all of them are sort of run kind of on the bright side, and what that means for me is that I can roll down my tone and get it a little bit darker if I need to, but I also have the clarity and the presence that I can cut through a mix when needed. So you can also stack the Kilt and the Noble together. So, yeah. Then I go into a noise gate, and this is side-chained. This is the new update, the side-chain noise gate that I have coming from the output of the Joule compressor into the noise gate. So it's sort of side-chaining and listening for the input coming out of the compressor. So you'll see that those are linked. And then going into the Matchmore DC30 amplifier. And it's the channel 2 version instead of the channel 1, which I didn't know that I would like, but I searched high and low for amps that I liked. I used captures, I used all sorts of different amps that are built in. And this is the one that I found gave me exactly what I was looking for with that. Can clean up, and then also can sort of live on the edge of breakup. And it sounds really good. It's really articulate, really dynamic as well. So yeah. Then from there, I'm going into a volume, which I just have attached to an expression pedal. And then I'm going into an EQ3 that's doing just a little bit of bass roll-off, a little bit of 2K roll-off, and a little bit of a dip in the top end, just to keep it from getting brittle. I do find that the QC has a tendency to get really bright if you're not careful. And so I want it to be present but not brittle. And then I'm going into the doubler. So I'm running 1 amp. I know a lot of guys like to run stereo amps, like the classic Fox on one side, Fender on the other sort of deal. I found that running 1 amp allows me to dial in my drives, get them exactly where I want them, and then use the doubler to get the stereo width. So when I had a full pedal board, I was using the Deco for this same exact function. So all it's doing is delaying one side, in this case the right side, by, I don't know, 6 or 8 milliseconds. And it's just giving a stereo width. So this is with the doubler. So you can hear it's really wide. And then without it. Right up and down the middle. The delay and reverb still have some width to them, but the doubler really works wonders. Then from there, I go into the Plini Chorus. The stock chorus is fine. All of the different modulation effects sound cool, but this one I found to just do exactly what I wanted it to do as far as it does, like the modern chorus sound that sounds really wide and really full. But yeah, like I said, I'll have a version available without the plug-in version. From there, I go into a vibrato, which is really, really subtle. Just a little bit of movement in the pitch. Typically, I'll stack it with the chorus just to get a little bit more depth to my modulation. But it also works really, really well by itself. From there, I'm splitting my signal, going from the third row into the fourth row, going into my delays, and then from delay into reverb. I'm using 1 analog, 1 tape delay. And then I'm using 2 reverbs, 1 plate, and 1 modulation reverb. Typically, I will have one at a dotted eighth, one at an eighth or a quarter, and I'll stack them in various ways. And then same thing with the reverbs. If I need more or less, I'll turn one on or the other, or I'll stack them. And then that's combining back with the dry signal. So it's parallel, so there's always dry signal going straight through. And then the delay and reverb have a separate signal path. And then that's going into my IR block. So I've tried to use some of the built-in cabs, and I was never happy. And so I just decided, all right, we'll just utilize some IRs. So these are a capture of the Benson Chimera, and it sounds awesome. So it's the stereo IR block, but both are just being mixed in together. So rather than having one on the left, one on the right, I'm still using the doubler for my width, and then just using 2 different IRs to sort of blend and get the tone, the main tone that I want. So that's both IRs. So as you can hear, it's still right up the middle, but that's one. This is the other. And it's the same cab, just with a different mic combination on each one. And then together. So yeah, hope this video finds you well, and I hope that this preset can maybe give you a jumping off point if you're just getting into the QC, or if you're just trying to dial in solid worship tones. I find that this is a great jumping off point. Like I said, I'll typically go through and instead of having it as clean lead, those sort of things, I'll have it built out verse, chorus, bridge. But this should be a pretty good starting point for anybody that is looking for just a modern worship tone. Like I said, it's super bright. These are bright pickups. It's a bright guitar, and the preset is bright. So if you're running humbuckers, it might be good to go for you right out of the box. Otherwise, I would just tweak, make adjustments, use the global EQ to your advantage. Anyways, thanks guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.